Get ready for the countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Ash, and in this video, we are drawing Spider-Man. Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. Thanks so much for hanging out today. Sash here, coming at you live from Dubai. Khalid, first one in here. Today's stream is going to be a little different, a little bit different. Omar Harb in the house, great to have you here. Guys, welcome, welcome. If you are here for the drawing lesson, it's going to be a lot of fun. Hoping that that this stream goes smoothly. If you can hear me alright, do let me know. If the sound levels are coming through alright, also let me know. We're gonna get stuck into it for the next hour or so, see if we can actually pull this off. I have to admit, I've been out of practice a little bit, but yeah, let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. Alright, we'll just wait for a couple more people to show up before we get started here. If this is your first time, by the way, a very, very warm welcome to you. Thanks so much for hanging out today. Alright, so basically, as the title suggests, I'm going to show you guys how I draw Spider-Man. And very, very quickly, what you can do is grab yourself some paper if you want to draw along with me. Today we're using 250 GSM art mat. This is the non-grainy type and of the A4 variety. I'm going to be using a mechanical pencil. Now this particular mechanical pencil is a 0.35 I don't know if you guys can see that, 0.35 millimeter pencil. And I believe the lead is a B lead, but 2B lead should be fine. If you got HB, you may want to make it a little bit softer than that. These are just for the basic lines, so we're not going to press too hard with them. And we'll be using some Prismacolor pencils. Now I haven't used these in a while, so it'll be loads of good practice for me too. Let's go ahead and adjust that so the audio is coming through alright. Yeah, these are the Prismacolor Premier type. So they're soft core pencils. And in this set we have about 48 colors. We'll only be relying on a few of them, mostly the reds. So I'm gonna pick some of the shades here. We've got carmine reds. We've got poppy red. We've got crimson red. And we might have some other colors in there as well. Definitely going to be using that white and that black. You might notice that I mix up the media every now and then. Might switch to some pen as well. We'll be trying out these bad boys today. These are blending sticks. If you're one of my students, then you would recognize this. We're basically going to use this to shade out and smoothen out some of those tones. We'll see how it goes though. We've got two of them today. That is the number 2 and the number 3. And these are basically just rolls of paper that have been sharpened. Jimmy in the house, great to have you here. Very warm welcome to you. You might want to also pick up a sharpener. I've got a mechanical sharpener here. These are great, very inexpensive, but they last a long time and they always give a really good sharpen. I always tell my students, make sure those pencils are sharp. So yeah, let's see how it goes. I've got to try and sharpen those pencils as well at some point. Alright, I'll show you guys the reference that we're using. It's basically the same picture that you'd see as a thumbnail. I just found it on the internet, but what I want to do is maybe make it look a little bit more like the Stark Enhanced Spider-Man. from Spider-Man Homecoming. So I'm just gonna go ahead and show you guys what that looks like really quickly. Image. Let's go ahead and find this for you guys here. Alright, that's gonna be the basic image that we're working with. So I might actually leave that up on screen. Yeah, let's go ahead and leave that up on screen. Maybe make it a little bit smaller so that you guys can actually see that. Actually, let's put it over there. Yeah, there you go. It's not too bad. So it doesn't get in the way. It's not too obtrusive or anything like that. Omar, you're back. No problem at all. Alright, if you guys can hear me alright, do let me know if you are experiencing any problems. Also let me know, that'd be really great. Otherwise, we'll just go ahead and get started real quick. Alright, so we want to keep this stream relatively short. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump straight in and get started. Alright, just checking if everything is firing off alright. Yes, it is. Alright, perfect. Good. So first thing you want to do, guys, is you want to make sure that you've got a reference in front of you. I always tell my students that you've got to start with a good reference, preferably something that is of high quality, high definition. In this case, that image is up on the right side, up there, and you want to take your pencil now, and you want to just lightly sketch out the form. Now, when you hold a pencil, I prefer to hold it closer to the nose there, and we're just going to have some light arm movements. Alright, so basic shapes for the head here, and we're gonna go with a so yeah, let's go with something around that size. Yeah, as you can see, just lightly sketching that out. Don't worry if it's untidy or anything like that. At this point, what I like to do is I like to divide the head proportionally. So we're going to use a vertical line, or basically a line that represents the vertical axis. And this is going to be down the left side of the face there for his to basically get those proportions looking alright. If you've got an eraser, you can use that if you make any mistakes, but we'll be shading over all of these anyways. And then we're going to use another guideline, and this time this is going to go across there, and that's going to represent the eye line. If you guys can see that, do let me know. I think that it's zoomed in enough and clear, but if it's difficult to see, do let me know, and I'll try to zoom that in for you. Harold Das in the house, great to have you here, my friends. Yeah, we're just mixing it up today, doing a little bit of a drawing, showing folks on YouTube how I draw Spider-Man. So getting stuck into it really quickly, just sketching out some of the guidelines. Alright, now you'll notice that his hand is actually in front of his face, and so we're gonna go ahead and use another shape here, maybe an ellipse around there. That's roughly around the same size as his head. It's not gonna be too much of a problem if you don't get it accurately proportioned, but we're working with 2 ellipses for now. I'm just gonna quickly go ahead and sketch in that forearm shape there. That is yet another shape, roughly another ellipse there, and let's go ahead and figure out how his head looks. Alright, so the first point I'd like to start with is this eye, so that would be his right side eye, and I'm not doing this too accurately for now, just a rough sketch. If you are following along, take your time, feel free to pause the video if you're watching on demand so you can basically get this looking alright. Alright, so now that we have his his eyes sort of roughly sketched in there. I'm just gonna fix the shape of his head real quick. Now, even though his hand is in front of his face, around here, I'm going to go ahead and just draw in the rest of the face as if his hand wasn't there, so we can have an accurate point of reference for the rest of our lines and shadows. Safe Aldelucia in the house, great to have you here. Welcome to the stream. Guys, if it's your first time here, a very warm welcome to you. Ideally, we want to try and do these training videos over the weekends, maybe do some more gaming content over the weekdays. However, if we have the time, we'll try and squeeze in a stream regardless. So I did miss some of my training streams lately, and as a result, I have not been able to do any solid content, with the exception of some of those videos we put up lately, ranking up some characters. So yeah, we'll try to change that and see if we can be a bit more consistent with this. Gaith Abdullah! Alright, nice. Great to have you here. By the way, welcome to the stream. If it is your first time, again, thanks so much for hanging out today. I'm just gonna go ahead and check our online settings to make sure everything's alright. Alright, good. And let's now, so now that we have the basic layout of the face, we're just gonna try and sketch out this hand real quick. So with this hand area, it is a little complicated, so I like to break things up into basic shapes. So like we have this basic shape for we call this the glove of the hand here. We're now going to divide that in half. So just use a curve there. Just gonna use this eraser to erase out the bottom of that jawline there. Okay, now for the thumb, I'm gonna use another ellipse there. Ashan, SEO in the house. MCOC gamer becomes an artist. Wow. Actually, it's the other way around, my friend. I just haven't had too much time to show the art, unfortunately. But yeah, I've been doing this for much longer than I have been playing MCOC. Appreciate you tuning in though. Really warm welcome to you. Thanks so much for hanging out today. Alright, so I'm gonna try and skip through this a little bit and see if we can get to the colors. Alright, so just going in right now, putting in some of those basic details real quick. Now we're doing the fingers, so again I'm just using some basic shapes, geometrical shapes here, so that we can properly plot where those fingers, etc. are going to fall. Now we'll try to modify this character a little bit more, see if we can make him look a bit more like the Stark Enhanced version of Spider-Man. See how that goes. Keep in mind that if you are drawing along, especially if you're watching this at a later stage, then we're going to be using very light lines here. Try not to go very dark with your pencil. You want to try and avoid those hard lines so we can get some really good levels of detail going on. Ashan, you're talented, bro. Keep rocking. Appreciate that. I'm gonna go ahead and just copy the chat on screen so you guys can actually see that. Just give me a sec here. Forgot to do that. Kind of got a little bit delayed today, but we are back in business. Nice. Alright, there we are. Let's move that down there. Alright, cool. Awesome. Okay. By the way, what I can do, I suppose, is put this picture, this reference picture up here in the description below in case you want to use it at a later stage. I'll try and do that after the video is done, because it might take too much time to actually just edit that description right now. Alright, now what's gonna give this these fingers the shape that they actually need is the shape of the webbing, actually. So that's something to keep in mind, especially if you're struggling with this part. I mean, fingers are one of the hardest areas to draw. We might make mistakes from time to time as well. So all you gotta just remember is when you're drawing, especially when you're practicing or learning how to draw, you are going to make mistakes, and that's okay. It's part of the learning process. Just keep going. Try not to dwell on the mistakes too much. What lots of people do is they just get their eraser and they start erasing, and it's just way too time consuming. So yeah, I really don't recommend that. Okay, so since our hand is actually quite high, we're going to try and take this face up just a little bit more here. Luckily, nothing's too dark yet, so we can move that up just a little bit. Move that eye line just a little bit higher there. That way, it's not in the way, completely blocking his face. There we go. Awesome. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. Don't forget that his ears, the top of his ear will touch that eye line as well, so that'll give you a nice point of reference as to how you can see that. Saif Al-Belushi, aka Gaith Abdullah. Nice drawing, mister. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate that. Khalid in the house, always with those compliments. Really do appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Alright. I suppose that it is possible to focus on doing the details very, very well. However, I like to jump straight into it and kind of add details as I'm going. So if you notice anything that is kind of missing, it's been done that way on purpose. Alright, so now we're just going to add some of the webbing detail here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
back from the dead.
By the way, if it's your first time here, I want you guys to feel very welcome. Go ahead and tell us who you are in the chat. We'll be sure to give you a shout out if we can. That's if we're not too stuck into it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're all invited to go fucking mad.
Alright, now at this point, around here, this is where the design of the new Spider-Man kind of changes. And these webs basically don't really touch the middle section here. There's like a whole bunch of space in between. You can go ahead and check that out as well in on Google Images, just to kind of confirm. So we're gonna have some space on the webbing there as well. And remember, the webs kind of bend according to the shape of his face. So his nose is there. That's why the webs are kind of bending this way right now. Most of my new students always ask, how long does it take you to get something drawn or painted? And I always say that it completely depends on what you're doing. So hopefully our piece today is not going to take too long. Alright, we're just almost done with the planning section here. This is probably the most detail I'm going to use in terms of pencil work. Now, from time to time you may hear me sniff. I do apologize, you guys. I am a little bit sick. Kind of happened over this weekend, I think. I went swimming, and so I might have ingested some of that water through my nose. It's just kind of unfortunate as we're just getting into the swing of things. So I might excuse myself, go to the bathroom and blow my nose from time to time. Apologies in advance. Okay, so now we have the basic structure of our Spider-Man, and you might notice that it doesn't look exactly the way it looks in that picture up there, and that's okay, because at this point what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in with a very light red. If you want, you can grab another piece of paper and just test out the different shades here. And this one is a little bit duller, so I think we're gonna switch to this poppy red here, and that's gonna be a little bit lighter, give us a nice light tone. We're gonna do that all over the figure, even in the dark parts and the light parts, and that's going to give us a nice kind of underlying tone there. So we're just gonna do this very, very, very quickly. Game Crasher 982 in the house. Jason, welcome to the stream, my friends. Jason, how large is the paper? Is it just a normal piece or some special type? Yeah, this is an A4 piece of paper, so the same kind that'll fit in your printer. So yeah, A4. However, what makes it a little bit better is the weight of the paper. So that's about 115 pounds, I guess. No, not 115 pounds. 250 GSM art mats. Anyways. Yeah, I just thought we'd mix it up just a little bit and do something slightly different today, as opposed to the same content. Alright, so what we're doing now is we're just taking this, and notice how I use this. I'm gonna hold that in a sort of middle kind of position, closer to the tip. I'm not holding it there, I'm actually holding it closer to the tip, and that gives me some control. I'm gonna put my hand on the surface, it's not going to be off the surface, and then only my fingers are gonna move back and forth. If you're doing a larger picture, then your entire hand will move across, but for now I think it's totally fine if you just quickly go over it like this. And notice it's not too dark, and that's just gonna give us a nice base tone real quick. Alright, and we're gonna do the same thing for all the areas that are red. Even if some of those areas are white, we can always go back with a white pencil and color over those areas, so that's no problem. Just make sure you fill in those red bits. If you're new to color, I recommend that you try and do this with only pencil. What we're doing is something a little more advanced today, where we're combining both tones and colors to create the picture that you see. And it's kind of geared towards more sort of intermediates, leaning on advanced students who might not necessarily have the details of how to get from an average drawing to more of a realistic drawing. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how to do that. But if you're new to this and you want to try it out, feel free. Alright, so I'm gonna try and put in some more detail here for the arm. Alright, we'll put that in real quick. And then under this sort of forearm area here. Got some blue in there, which we'll go over at a later stage. Alright guys, so excuse me, I'll be right back. Just gonna go blow my nose real quick. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Yeah, cool. So now we're all set. Alright, so now it's time to take it up a notch and work on some of that detail. I think what we can do is we can start with the eye area. So let's see. Alright, let's go ahead and start with this eye area here. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put in some of the deeper tones. And I might actually switch out to a pen in just a minute, show you guys how I do that. So you've got something of a mixed media piece going on. Charlie, where did you learn to draw? You're sick. Actually, I've been drawing for most of my life, and I suppose some of it started just out of interest, and then I did obviously go to university, pick up some skills there. Yeah, most of it's just been practice. So now I am I'm teaching others how to do it. It's actually my full-time profession there. Fun fact. I didn't let you guys know before. That's what I teach. Alright. Now, depending on how you like to work your details, You may want to switch out to a black pen. Oops, I've got a few here which I can show you guys really quickly. So you've got a point of reference at least. I'll show you guys how to do this at a later stage, but these basically are is my Copic sets, and in here I've got some other marker and fine liner types. So this here is a 0.3mm pen used for drawing. I might show you guys how I use that as well. You can kind of mix it into some of the details to get some sharper edges here. This is kind of a bit of a pro tip. You do not have to stick to just one medium, and if something works a little bit better for you than others, definitely try and use that.
I feel like I fought all my life for this one part, this 1/3 I've always missed. No, just don't let it go. I started the fight, but now I'm losing. So will I fall again? I'm scared of heights, yet
Hamid in the house, great to have you here. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, if I had to say, if I had to pick something that I'm relatively experienced in, I would say it's illustration. That's kind of why I think I'd like to show people online how it goes, but I haven't really come across anyone who's kind of doing it live for people to kind of come in and ask some questions and things like that. So just figured I'd give it a try, see how it goes. Could fail miserably and I may get like loads of dislikes, or I could be successful. You never know. You never know unless you try. And if something intimidates you, but it's something that you are, you know, passionate about or whatever it is, then you can always give it a go. See if it actually works out or not. Alright, you'll notice that I am spending loads and loads of time on one specific area here, but that kind of sets the standard for the rest of how the piece is gonna look. So if you kind of rush through an area and maybe it's not really done to the best of your ability, then you know the other areas might suffer as well. So try and do that and see if and basically what I'm trying to say is that the amount of effort you put into one section of a drawing might impact the way the rest of the drawing actually ends up looking. So the same can be said about Marvel Contest of Champions, which I'm not as good at, unfortunately. Alright, so now this area is not completely white, so we're gonna go we're probably gonna go ahead and use maybe this actually let me see if I've got a gray color in here somewhere. Yeah, we've got some options here. Might use an aqua. I don't think I actually have gray. I have a silver. Yeah, that might work. Let's go ahead and try silver here. Fars, welcome to the stream. Great to have you here. I'm just gonna have a little bit of a shadow here on his eye because it's not completely white. It's not completely white, so that's something to keep in mind there. Now, if you are using the Prismacolors, this would be the point that you grab your blending stick and then just try to blend that out just a little bit so it's smoothed out there. Alright, cool. I'm gonna very quickly jump to the next eye. We'll come back and work in some of the rest of the details and see how that goes. I like to also rotate the paper every now and then, so you might see me do that. I apologize if it disorientates you. That's another trick I always tell my students, like, you can always just go ahead and rotate that paper if you need to get a better viewing angle in. Alright, let's jump to the next eye. Now, at this point, you may want to kind of position it in a way where your hand is not blocking that eye. Okay, so rotate the paper so you can still see it, and that way you kind of have a visual reference as to how you should be blending your tones. Especially if one is done really well and the other isn't, you might want to kind of position it so you can see it properly. Alright, this one's really easy. All we gotta do is just add a solid black bit here, so we'll go ahead and just sketch that in really quickly. Alright, now I'm gonna jump straight to my pen and just kind of fill that out. Alright, Jason says, do you plan out how to avoid putting your hand on and smudging the drawing? Yeah, that's actually a really good question there, Jason. Super easy. All you've got to do is grab another piece of paper. So I'm just gonna grab one from underneath here since I already have one. And all you've got to do is just take your other piece of paper and put it over, so this way your hand can move, but the drawing doesn't get smudged. So that's one way of doing it. I suppose, yeah, let's go ahead and use that. So basically show you what it looks like in practice. Kelly, you should draw Gwenpool, your new top champ. That's actually not a bad idea. Might give that a go. I love Spider-Man though. Spider-Man, I would say, is my favorite Marvel champion, and I'm I've kind of grown up just watching Spider-Man cartoons and reading Spider-Man comics and things like that. So yeah, that's been it's been around for a very long time. I remember finding those coloring books for kids and just taking the Spider-Man and Venom pictures and tracing them out when I was just starting out. I think I was like 5 or 4 or something like that. Alright, cool. So now at this point what I'm going to do is just go ahead and add some more details here. And I'm going to start this time on the left side and move to the right side. It's going to be like the webbing detail. I'm also going to grab a darker pencil now and add some of those shadows. Now whenever you're looking at a reference, guys, make sure that you study that reference. So that's the reference that we are looking at over there. If you can't see where the shadows are, one technique that I've learned and I tell my students is go ahead and blur your eyes and see if you can notice it better that way. That sometimes works out quite nicely. We have some orange here. cool. You might not notice it, but there is actually some orange in there for the tones. So I'm just gonna darken, like I said, I'm just gonna darken the webbing, and then we'll hit the tones. Alright, now when you darken the webbing, especially in an example like this, you'll notice that he's got maybe like a 3D kind of effect to his webbing. If you want to try and capture that, I recommend only darkening one side of it, that is the darker side or the shadow side. And that way when you go back and try to capture the lighter side, which is the, just make this a little bit bigger so I can show you guys what I mean here. So here we've got, we've basically got the webbing, and the light is coming from the left side, and creates a little bit of a shadow on the right side there. So you want to try and make sure that that you keep that in mind when you are drawing that out. Alright, cool. So now it's time to add in some of those deeper tones, the stuff that makes it look really realistic. So we're gonna blend in a few colors here. I'm probably gonna go with these 4 colors. Again, you want to try and keep your palette very limited, so you're not going crazy with the color. And from what I can see, it's about 3 or 4 colors. So that orange there will be our lightest tone, and that crimson red will be our darkest tone. So you can choose what you want to start with. I think it's always best to try and start with the lightest tone. So go ahead and blur your eyes if you can, if you can't see that. And now with the Prismacolors, they're actually quite forgiving, so even though this is currently looking orange, you can always go ahead and blend in over it with the red. So we're gonna choose our poppy red now and try and blend over it. And you can grab your blending stick if you want and try and go over that so you blend the two colors together. I'm just gonna go ahead and sharpen this pencil real quick. And we're back. Safe or Gaith, I'm not really sure. Welcome back. Alright, let's go ahead and grab that black.
Stories that we say, like someone's waiting to be told. The acting encompasses the blame. We watch the scenes we live unfold.
Grab your darker tones here. So we've got some dark tones here. Just gonna go ahead and fill that out. Just gonna quickly do these. I might not be super accurate. Again, it's completely up to you how much detail you want to put in here, but to kind of keep it not so boring, we'll go ahead and quickly draw out these tones, these details here. Alright, so just gonna switch to our carmine red now and get some of this pink going on this end.
I just
Again, you want to make sure that pencil is sharp, so we'll be right back. I wish I could zoom in here, but what I'm doing is basically leaving some space between the webbing and the material of his mask to kind of give that, that 3D effect to the webbing. Alright, so I'm just gonna bring this a bit closer to the camera so you guys can see this, what we're kind of doing there. That's just a little bit of blending, which you'll need to obviously practice. Again, we've got different tones, that orange coming in there with that lighter tone, and then moving on to the pink section on this side. So we're just gonna quickly complete this top part of the face, this top part of the head, and then move on to the bottom, I think. Dioxide edits. What mic are you using? I am currently using a blue snowball, but I've got a little bit of magic going on here in the background to make it sound a little bit better. So I can let you know what that is if you're interested. And be sure that that you're not touching that black webbing there, so that you can preserve the 3D nature, the 3D quality of that webbing. When you get closer to the middle, you don't have to worry too much about that. Now, if you, like I said before, if you're interested in making that a bit more defined, you can grab your black pen and just darken some of that detail. Cool thing about the Prismacolor is that they work really nicely with other media, so it's not too waxy, and as a result, the pen is able to easily lay over it without smudging or anything like that. However, I do recommend that you guys give it some time before touching it or anything like that, so at least you've got some time to let it dry and avoid that whole smudging nightmare. Alright, so let's see here. Let's try to go ahead and add some of this webbing up top here. Alright, so here's the cool part. If you got yourself a white pencil, okay, go ahead and grab that, and you can use this to actually accentuate some of those white bits there. A white pen also works really well for this particular area. If you got yourself a white pencil, that's really helpful, especially with some of these details. Make sure that you clean it every now and then, so you don't smudge that paper too much. Grab our silver really quickly and add some more shadow there. I'm just gonna go ahead and erase some of those pencil marks that I don't want. Alright, so let me show you guys really quickly what we've got going on. That's kind of the way it's looking right now. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and add more silver in there. Dax said, edits. Do you know Claire, the Twitch streamer? She's pretty good at drawing. I do not know Claire. However, I'd be very happy to check out her stuff at some point. Yeah, I'm super new at this whole YouTubing, live streaming experience. We've only been going for about 3 weeks now, and I'm just trying to figure it out and see how it goes. I figure the channel could be used for two things. Those are basically two things I'm quite passionate about, which is drawing and gaming. And then I'm also a teacher. I happen to be a design teacher by profession, art and design teacher, so I figure that could be a good way to add value to the rest of the community here. Alright, so now let's move on to the bottom end of the face. Last Ronin in the house. Great to have you here, my friends. Great to have you here. Welcome, welcome. We're just getting some art going at the moment. And put that in there again. Avoid some of those smudges. By the way, guys, if you've just joined the channel, a very warm welcome to you. I'm not really paying too close attention yet as to how many people we've got going on, but if I have missed anyone, I do apologize. A very warm welcome to you. And if you're watching this on demand, thanks so much for checking out the channel. Really do appreciate it. Actually, let's add this black in here. By the way, last Ronin, how many units do you have saved, my friends? How many units do you have saved? I kind of gave into some temptation again and bought one more featured crystal in Marvel Contest of Champions, sadly. So down to about 500 something now myself. Might do some Marvel Contest of Champions gameplay on Thursday for the new arena when that hits. I figure keeping it at one new piece of content per day may work a little bit better, so as to diversify our audience just a little bit here. Let's see. Last Ronin, Sash, what about your progression in 5.2? Did you complete 5.2.4? Sadly, I did not. Sadly, I did not. But I have been trying to frantically make my way through Master Mode event quests. We got a little bit late with that, unfortunately, so we yeah, we're only about 3/4 way through chapter 2 now, and we've got like 2 days left. So I'm hoping that I'm hoping that I'll have enough energy and time to actually grind out those last few paths to get that master mode completed. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Marvel Contest of Champions is the subject, and you should totally check it out. Very cool game. Although some of my students say it's kind of boring, and I should diversify and play some other games. So might mix it up. At least I wouldn't have to think too much about the game. I swear, when you like want to do something in Marvel Contest of Champions, it almost borders on obsession sometimes. Gotta think about, especially if it's a difficult piece of content, gotta think very creatively about how you plan on doing that said piece of content. So yeah, this drawing goes out to all the Marvel fans. If you're a Marvel fan, this one's for you. Actually, I think what would be quite fun is if we could do a giveaway off this picture at some point. As soon as I finish it. Which I'm not sure if I'll be able to actually do today. We'll do our best. We'll do our best and see how we go. Alright, just try to sketch out those few details there. And then same principle, you guys. Start with the lighter color, and then mix in some of those darker colors. So here I don't think we've got too much orange going on, so I'm just gonna hit it with just the red. Remember, you want to keep it nice and light when you're going over it for the first time. Now, other artists might differ in their approach. That's just how I like to do it. I like to keep it nice and light, and then hit it again with another layer, a little bit darker and with a bit more detail. Like I said, though, the Prismacolors are pretty forgiving, and you can always like just mix them in and blend them really quite nicely if you've got yourself a blending stick, which is what I'm doing up here just to demonstrate for you guys. So you don't get that grainy kind of effect that you might be wanting to try and avoid in your work. That's if that at all is a thing. I personally don't mind it. I think it gives the work a bit more of a cool kind of feel. Man, I apologize, you guys. I'm not feeling too well today, so you might hear me sniffing and sneezing and blowing my nose from time to time. I do apologize. I actually wanted to do the stream yesterday, but I yeah, I got a little tied up, sadly. Only managed to set up my computer and my camera and all of that good stuff just before bed. Got so busy. This song basically expresses how I've been feeling over the past few days. Let's go ahead and switch to our darker pencil. I gotta say, I am feeling a little bit more inspired with these Prismacolors. They definitely are cool, I gotta say. Had them sitting in my cupboard for like 2-3 years now. Untouched, unused. It's terrible. Just been using the paints lately, but I gotta say, this is pretty cool, and you can do it on online, live for the rest of the world to see. So that's pretty cool too. Yeah, we've just passed the 1 hour mark, by the way, and as you can see, it does take a while, but as you practice and keep doing it, you'll improve in terms of your speed. Kingfish in the house. Who do we have here? Welcome, welcome. Great to have you with us. Khaled, awesome to have you here. Very warm welcome to you. Thanks so much for hanging out today. Welcome to our stream. Just doing some drawing right now at the moment, showing the fine folks of YouTube how I get some of these drawings going. So yeah, switching back to the pen now to darken out some of these details. James Kill is in the house. Great to have you with us, my friends. No grinding. Yeah, not today. Not today. Taking a little bit of a break. Changing up the content just a little bit. We, sadly, have not had too much time lately, and I actually feel pretty good about it. So yeah, just trying to work on some of these details. That's kind of what it's looking like right now, you guys, by the way. And yeah, we're just trying to finish up that face, maybe move on to the hands. It might not all get finished today. I'll show you guys how to get that whole 3D effect going, so you can polish it up. James Killers, is it a giveaway? It might be. It might be. Haven't figured out exactly how we're gonna give it away yet, but that might be quite fun. That might be quite fun. By the way, you might wonder why I'm using this this piece of paper here. That's to ensure that no smudging happens while I'm drawing. So, a little bit of a pro tip there, in case you want to avoid the smudging, and you might find that that's a problem with your artwork. Also, we haven't really used the eraser too much, and I'll show you guys why towards the end of the piece here. You guys, I'm gonna have to go ahead and just drop the volume of my mic. Bump that back up. Testing, 1, 2. Can you hear me? Sorry about that, you guys. I had to switch off the mic just a little bit. We had a fire alarm go off. Unfortunately, that's the thing here, and it's not really fire. It's more people just not knowing how to cook properly in our apartment. So yeah, they end up setting off the alarm. Fun times. I just happen to have my studio space in the room where the alarm siren is actually mounted in the house, so it's kind of unfortunate. Didn't really think it through too much. Just didn't really think it through too much when I set up the space. Let's see, which color do we want? We might go with a carmine red. That's for his his jawline area here. Khaled says make gaming videos. Yeah, we'll definitely do that, Khaled. We will definitely do that. But for now, I suppose we're just checking out how the drawing experience goes. Gotta diversify just a little bit. Spread out the interests here. I think one of the things we really want to try and do on the channel is teach people how to do certain skills that are either art or design related. So one of the reasons why we're focusing so much on this kind of content.
choices that it's hard not to look past. What is real and what is fake, and the risk we have to take. Will we know what is throwing off our balance? Trying to find ourselves without the defining words. We can no longer hold on to what only makes us hurt.
Switch it up here to the slightly darker red to get this shoreline nice and defined, nice and pronounced.
We must reach for.
It says, what games do you play, and do you play PC or PS4 or Xbox? Great question, my friend. I currently have a PC and a phone, and so we tend to mix it up between those two. So it's actually more mobile and PC. When it works. When it works. Doesn't always work though. Okay.
I'm gonna throw my memories away. Now I feel I'm done, and I am cursed by every day till my time is gone.
Let's see here. Is that poppy red? Yes, that is. Let's go ahead and add some poppy red on this side. Let's bring in some of that orange there. Now we're working towards the lighter side of the face here, so I'm gonna show you guys how I handle that. Actually, what would be really cool is if we could get maybe a suggestion or two. Keep it a little more interactive here. If we could maybe get a suggestion or two as to what kind of other characters or artwork you'd like to see me draw, that would be pretty cool. You can go ahead and sound off in the chat. Loads of my kids are fans of Overwatch, and so that's something I always get asked about. I happen to have a tracer painting that I've done, which I'll upload here at some point soon, so you guys can kind of take a look at that. That's hanging in my classroom at the moment, and my students always ask me about it. Hence the suggestion to try and start a YouTube channel. Nazmul Islam just subscribed. Hey, thank you so much for that. Really do appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Really do appreciate it. Alright, so that's kind of what it's looking like so far, you guys. Just working in some of those details there. I'm gonna show you guys how to make that pop just a little bit more outside of the background. Since the background is white right now, you don't really get that popping effect. I'll show you guys how to do that in just a sec. We might work this hand area here, and maybe end it a little bit early. I'll finish it up later and show you guys the finished product as well as the time lapse. Now, hey, if you've just joined the channel, I do appreciate it. Thanks so much for hanging out. If you need to know what I'm using, I'll go ahead and put all the materials down in the description. You guys can have an idea of how I get these results. So let's go ahead and use that. This is more of a finishing touch, but I figure I'd just throw that on there for now. Show you guys how I add those levels of details. Jason asks, "What is your favorite media for art?" Good question, man. I think I like a few things. I've been doing lots of painting work lately. Over the past couple of years, mostly for like Comic-Con and things like that. However, plain old-fashioned pencils work really well, and I tend to really enjoy these pens, to be honest. I think they're very cool with that sketchy kind of feel to it. So yeah, I really do enjoy these pens, if I have to be honest. Show you guys some of my pen art at some other point in time. If you guys want to check that out, do let me know. Let's see here if I'm missing any comments. James Killis21 says this needs to be every Monday. Khaled confirms every Monday. Nice. And James wants to see Loki drawn. Cool. Yeah, we can make that happen for show. For show. Yeah, we don't want to do art every single day, but we do want to try and diversify just a little bit, break it up, show you guys how I make the art and that sort of thing live here on the tube. Just going in and filling in some of these white spaces now, so we don't have any. Let's see, what color do I want to use? I think I've got. Yeah, I think I'll just stick with this color. Poppy red seems to be the lightest shade of actual red that I have if I don't want to use the oranges, so I might just stick with that. You'll find that you have to press a little bit harder here to fill in some of those white spaces, and that will make it pop a little bit more, make it more realistic, that sort of thing. I am a pretty big fan of these Prismacolors, I have to say. They're really, really cool. I was saying a little bit earlier how they were just sitting in my cupboard for like 2 years. When I was living in South Africa, I actually couldn't find them anywhere, so I got them imported from the States. I just never used them. Kind of ironic, actually.
We're back from the dead.
Man from the dead.
We're back from the dead.
Hell yeah.
We're back from the dead.
Oops. Damn, generally faster than this, but that's kind of where we're at right now. Just working in some of those details, trying to get those shadows and things like that coming in. So it is taking a little while. I have to admit I have not done this in a very long time. So I apologize for it taking so long. But thanks so much for being patient and waiting to check it out. If you're watching this on demand, feel free to just skip ahead to see what the finished product looks like. And of course, the best experience is watching it being made live. Oh yeah. Let's grab our light pencil. All those light tones in there. Oops. You want to try and make sure that, that your pencils are sharp, so if and when you need to head over to that sharpener, make sure you do so, you guys. Make sure you do so. I'm going to do that real quick. Give it a quick sharpen there. And we're back. Oops, forgot our little piece of paper there. So you'll see what I'm doing now is I'm just going back and trying to enhance some of the 3D nature of these webs here by adding some more dark tones very, very close to the edge. That kind of helps them pop just a little bit more. That's kind of what we're working with right now. Let's see, we're getting there with the whole 3D kind of feel and stuff like that. So that's kind of what you want to do when you're drawing something like this out. Usually this would take me just a couple hours, and then that should be done. And just check if I've missed any comments or anything like that. By the way, if you've just joined us, thanks so much for hanging out today. Really do appreciate it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll be sure to answer those as best as I can. Alright guys, excuse me, I'll be right back. Just gonna run to the bathroom real quick and be right back. And we're back. Might actually just find a new playlist real quick and get some better tunes going. Go ahead and load that up after the song. Alright, now loads and loads of more detail can actually go on to this face here. I suppose when it comes to art, my wife will tell you that I do like to go back and work things and just make sure that they look really good before moving on to the next bit, so I do apologize if it's kind of frustrating watching this and seeing me kind of going back and working the eye and not moving on to the rest of the picture, but yeah, it's just like how I like to work. What you can do at this point is you could work on the background. Now, what most people tend to forget is that this is actually a 3D object. This figure has volume to it, and so naturally he is going to create some kind of shadow on the page. And you may want to just grab your black pencil and figure out where the light is coming from. Obviously, and you might want to add the shadow to the other side. So in this case, that's going to be on this side. Yeah, you can just do this very lightly. Don't worry too much if it's not looking the way that you want, because you can always go back with your blending stick and kind of blend that out so it looks a bit cleaner there. Alternatively, what you can do is, if you've got experience with an airbrush, you can always just grab that airbrush and spray that side.
Drowning in the fears, and now I know that I will fall again and let it go, but I can't stop to
Yeah, I suppose there's loads and loads of ways that you can do this. That's just one way of doing it. Erase what you don't need. I'll work on that just a little bit. Now, if you have done that, you want to make sure that get your white pencil and make this edge quite hard. And that's going to push out this this figure a little bit more. So yeah, this edge here is actually quite important, especially if you want to have that kind of 3D effect to your work. And that's the kind of effect we're talking about there. Dark4 Strange in the house. Great to have you here, my friends. Thanks so much for saying hi. Really do appreciate that. that's kind of the effect we've got going on. And like I said, if you got access to one of these blending sticks, you can always go ahead and use them to make that tone appear a little bit smoother there. But an airbrush tends to work best. All right, cool. Let's move on to the hand real quick, and then we'll see if we can finish it up. Alright, so same thing with the hands. You want to just make sure that you've got your main details in place. So for us, that is the webbing here on his fingers. Let's go ahead and sharpen this pencil real quick. Just doing the shadowy bits of the web here, and that's gonna give me a point of reference for when I'm adding my reds in. Bear in mind we'll go over it with the pen as well, so no need to be super accurate here. This is something that you're doing. Now, if you make a mistake with the hands, just know that hands are pretty difficult to do for most people, so it's totally fine if you can't get them done the first time around. We might also end up making some mistakes here, and it's like I said, it's totally fine. You're gonna be learning anyways, so you know, just keep practicing, and you should get it no problem. I'm just gonna add a light pink kind of tone here. Might actually switch to a pink color, so at least we've got color everywhere. So yeah, so we've got some blush pink going on right now, which I don't know if you guys can actually see that. Blush pink, yeah. Okay, cool. So that's what we're gonna use. Yeah, it's not too bad. Sapphire in the house! Great to have you with us, my friends. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Jason, have you ever done original arts, like an idea stemming from your brain? Yeah, I have. I actually worked a little bit as a concept artist as well, and so that was something I did. Loads many years ago though. So these days it's mostly just fan art, since it's quite time consuming to get your own kind of vision down, and especially if you're working for a client, that might be a little bit tricky to do. But yeah, totally. I think once you so one of the reasons I'm actually doing this instead of my own kind of art is to show people how the progression kind of goes, just as you would play Marvel Contest of Champions and progress through the different types of content in there. You've also got a progression in terms of art, and I always recommend my students try and do what they can see from reference first before they try to do what they see in their minds. That way they get to learn anatomy, and they get to learn how the different elements of art, which is line, tone, color, that sort of thing, interact with each other. And so once they're able to actually master those things, then they can, I recommend kind of moving on to some more detailed content. Jason, stemming also, could you give some tips on that? Is it better to have a complete idea before starting, or just starting a sketch? I think that it's good to have your idea, and preferably as detailed in your mind as possible. When I'm teaching in my design class, I always say to my students, get yourself like a sketchbook, basically a place where you can save all your information and refer back to it at a later stage. That goes with, you know, your ideas, as well as your basic sketches or reference images, things like that. Basically a central place where you can pull from at any point in the future. So that's a really good place to start. You want to have yourself you want to make sure you've got a reference book. And this could be a collection of images that you get from the internet. It could be a collection of ideas that you've written down, a collection of drawings that you've done, just basically rough sketches, that sort of thing. And I think that's the best way to kind of progress through generating and developing ideas into more detailed things. However, I don't disregard the whole expressive part of it. I think if you are able to go and just start drawing and see where it takes you, that's also cool. I tend to do that sometimes, but these days not so much. Yeah, that's also a cool way to kind of express yourself. Sapphire says, I love art, but I'm terrible at it. Hey, then you've come to the right place, my friend. This is the reason why we've got the channel going, to teach folks how to, as well as people who are experienced. So if you don't know how, then you might have some like a series of basics. And then this particular piece is sort of aimed more at the kind of mid-level to like going on advanced level. But I also decided to start it on stream and show how I make the art, so that anyone who wants to do it can basically jump in and start drawing right away. Sapphire says, this is totally unrelated to art, it's okay if you don't answer, but how many points roughly for the 3-star crossbones? I think 3-star crossbones is gonna go for about 700,000, 750 at most, so you should be alright with that. Safe Al-Zaruni in the house. Great to have you here. Thanks so much for hanging out today. Alright, so let's try to finish up this hand here, and so we can actually say we did something today, you guys. Otherwise, might not feel too good about not being able to finish. So let's go ahead and try and finish as best as we can. Just using the pink now to put in some of these shadowy bits on the fingers here. Alright, cool. Yeah, so yeah, that's basically my advice. Feel free to ask anything, I'll try my best to answer. If you are struggling with anything, or if there's something that you are trying to progress through, then go ahead and ask, and I'll try my best to give you the advice that I think works for me, or works for us at school. Aaron Hoodie Lover in the house, man. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks so much for hanging out today. Marble Boy in the house. Dude, the OG squad is getting back. You guys, I was wondering where you were at today. I thought that since I'm doing an art video, maybe that might have scared loads of people off today. But I appreciate you guys hanging out. That is a drawing. Yes, it is. So yeah, just showing guys how I'm working, how to create hyper-realistic art using Prismacolors. Yeah, this is me live. This is me live. It's taking a little bit of time, but hopefully it creates value for people, and they enjoy it and learn something. Marble Boy says, "Holy, you're better than Picasso." No, no ways. No, not even close. Yeah, most people. I'll tell you guys a fun story. Actually, let me go ahead and change the music real quick, and I'll tell you guys a fun story. So, before I got to Dubai, my wife and I got to go on a Euro trip. And on the Euro trip, we basically wanted to check out some of the really fascinating places around Europe, and one of those places happened to be a Picasso museum. Most people tend to only recognize Picasso's later works, which is his Cubism stuff, the kind of stuff that looks a little distorted and things like that. But in this museum, are all his like very early works, and he was very good at capturing hyper-realism, like what you see here. Maybe even a lot better. Definitely a lot better. What am I saying? Definitely a lot better. Before he started actually moving into the more expressive Cubist style of work. And so I say that to let you guys know that you start off learning this kind of thing, and then once you get really good at it, you can break the mold that people want you to stay in. So yeah, we were really fortunate enough to check out the Picasso Museum. We got to go to the Louvre as well in Paris, and that was a crazy experience, I gotta say. that was a very special experience as well, because I got to see obviously the original Mona Lisa and some of the other things that I was teaching at the time, more along the lines of Renaissance type art. So yeah, I basically, you know, I'm doing this, and it's a kind of comic-y subject matter, and you know, most people tend to recognize the character, and as a result it comes across as maybe not so serious, but everyone who starts out definitely does so by learning about the basics, how to shade, how to color, how to control light and form and texture and all of those things. So yeah, right now we're just adding a couple more details here. This part, assuming the picture was finished, and let's just put it there, because I don't think that we want to stream for too long. Assume this was your final picture, and you're ready to kind of take it up a level and make it look a bit more realistic. What you do at this point is you would go back and work something called your contrasts, and that is the difference between your light and your dark spots. So you've got basically two types here. You've got hard edges and you've got soft edges, and trying to figure out how these two interact with each other is going to create more hyperrealism. So, for example, if we were to take this edge here between his face, the edge of his face, and the shadowy area, and actually make that a little bit harder, that would actually pop the character out a bit more, make it look a bit more realistic. And so that's something that I want to show you guys here really quickly. You can even use a pen if you want to, and let's just put our paper over that. What that's going to do for us is it's basically going to help the character kind of jump out a little bit more. And so this would be classified as more of a hard edge. What most people don't do is they don't take the time to study these very important bits, and that kind of keeps their work at the sort of okay level, but not at the very realistic level. And so that kind of helps it jump out just a little bit more. If you guys can kind of see that, yeah. So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to show you guys today. I'm hoping that it's been able to create some value for you, and hey, if you've just joined us, thanks so much for hanging out. And what we'll do is we'll give this picture away at some point, but I need to think about how I want to do the giveaway. So it might be for like one lucky subscriber or something like that. I might get people to like do a challenge or something, and see if we can get some feedback that way. And chat to Diamond Gamer in the house. Great to have you here. Marvel Boy, by the way, congrats on rank 5 Gwenpool. Thank you, really do appreciate it. I am very, very, very excited about the Gwenpool, I have to admit. Yeah, that was a very special kind of ranking. Marvel Boy wants to know if we can please do an MCO stream now. I might be able to. I need to jump back in the arena anyways, and see if we can make that happen. But I gotta check with the wife first. So maybe she doesn't want me to stream. You never know. So one has to always always check these things out before making the decision. But yeah, so guys, I think we're gonna stop the picture there. Like I was saying before, you want to try and control your dark and your light spots. I'm not really sure if you guys can see this picture, but if you study that reference picture on the top right hand side up there, what you'll notice is that towards the middle of his face, where his eyes kind of get closer to each other, it's a lot darker. And so in order to let our picture kind of match that and look as realistic as that, we need to add some darker bits around here as well. So I'm just gonna go in with my black because the red is actually not dark enough. And I'm just gonna very lightly, when I mean lights, like super light, just shade over the red to kind of deepen those tones a bit more and help it pop a little bit more. Just in this kind of area here. And you might want to do that around the webbing as well if you're trying to draw this and get it looking the way we've gotten it here. Enchanted Gamer, is PUBG tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow we'll probably do some PUBG. That could be quite cool. Get some PUBG going. Got to configure my computer, so yeah, pretty happy about that. I did only play once though, so I might need some practice. But like I said, you guys, I'm not feeling too well, so we'll see if I feel better and am able to actually get there. Anyways, yeah, so that's kind of the most that I think we can do within the 2 hours that we had here. I was kind of hoping to finish that up, but hey, if we don't finish it up tomorrow or something like that, then we might just make a part 2 stream and show you guys how I finish out the rest of it. Till then though, I really do appreciate you guys hanging out. If it was your first time and you'd like to see more content like this, more instructional content, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Like the video if you haven't done so already. It really does help me out in knowing how many people actually do appreciate this kind of content. And yeah, I really hope to be able to interact with you guys more and produce more awesome content like this. Like I said, I might actually stream again straight after this, but yeah, I'll have to check with the wife and see if she's happy with that. Till then though, guys, I appreciate all the support, and I'm going to leave you guys there. Everyone, thanks so much for hanging out. Again, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like that video, and we'll catch you guys later. Thanks so much.